Do you recognize these two actors? Take a closer look. They're both from England, and both had starring roles in the movie that has made more money than any other movie, over $405 million worldwide. Give up? Well, this is Dave Prowse. Still no help? Okay, how about Darth Vader from Star Wars? And this is Tony Daniels, the fella inside C-3PO, the robot pal of the little mechanical man R2-D2. What a turn their lives have taken during the past 3 years. Dave Prowse came to Star Wars after playing monsters and villains in many English movies, but Tony Daniels was a well-thought-of stage actor in London and wasn't at all thrilled when his agent asked him to do C-3PO.
She had to twist my arm to do it in the first place, actually. I didn't want to ever play 3PO because I was, playing really wonderful parts in the West End in London. And she put me up for the part, and I just said, what a terrible idea to ask me to play a robot. How dare you? I felt very insulted. And then, of course, I began to understand what it was all about, and I was very happy they insisted.
At the time you were working on Star Wars, did you think it was going to be a big hit?
Both Tony and I would get pages of dialogue, and really the dialogue, when you just sat and read it, and it looked so banal, and you think, why the hell can I say this, And then, but in the context of when you actually got into the costume and the other actors were around you and you had all this fantastic, props and scenery and things like this, it all suddenly became real.
But one of the greatest skills in the film is that Mark Hamill, for instance, could say absolute garbage with a straight face. At least David and I were kind of behind something, so if you wanted to wince, nobody could see you do that. But the humans in it had to look very serious and sincere, and in fact that's why the film works, because to have those humans looking sincerely and talking with feeling to, for instance, a robot is so bizarre that you automatically accept it. That's why one of the reasons the robots work, because the humans work with them so well. But I wouldn't have liked to have shown my face in that film, I think.
I used to have great fun with the dialogue. I used to keep changing the dialogue because nobody or the sound engineers couldn't hear what I was saying properly. And I used to, for instance, asteroids were always referred to as hemorrhoids, and used to have great fun, like this. Of course, nobody knew what I was doing, so it was a marvelous time.
Tony, what was the most difficult thing about playing C-3PO?
One of the hardest things was talking to Arthur, because he just never said a word back to me. I mean, he was one of the most difficult actors I've ever worked with. And, this is a rare opportunity to see Dave and myself together, because Darth Vader and 3PO never meet, because I'm not into scary parts of the film. And I would much rather work with Dave than R2, I'm afraid.
Star Wars 1 is now in re-release at theaters in the Metroplex, and Star Wars 2 has been completed, but will not be out until next May. Both Prowse and Daniels think Star Wars 2 is even better than the first one.
I feel happier about it for lots of reasons. I mean, it's a much better movie, and there are all sorts of really good things in it. But for me personally, they remade the costume, and it was all a lot easier. So there's all sorts of reasons to be very happy about it. And it was very strange to be back in those old sets, because, we start off in the Millennium Falcon again, and it was as though 3 years never happened. There we were, I was still doing the same old wobble acting, and there were the walls looking the same old faces there.
It is amazing, actually, that it is 3 years, since we actually worked on Star Wars. And we're working with all the same people. We've got the same cast, same crew, same people. It's marvelous, and everybody, we all get back into the same costumes and carry on as though we'd never stopped.
I was really a bit worried about whether my brain could take dressing up like that again, but in the meantime, I've been heavily back into playing humans. So I think what it is, I can take a sort of dose of 3PO now and again, providing somebody lets me play a human straight away afterwards to reassure myself.
George Lucas wrote Star Wars as a 12-part anthology. This leads Dave Prowse and Tony Daniels to believe there could be 12 Star Wars movies. And they plan to keep right on playing Darth Vader and C-3PO. As they say, it's the world turns in space.
When everything is pulled together, and I see it projected in a theater for the first time, it can be pretty scary.